What's your favorite pizza?
Sausage.
Why haven't you joined the armed forces to defend our country yet? And welcome back to another episode of Crips and Corks. I'm your host, DJ, here with my co-host.
And the loveliest little duck on the pond. The brightest crown in the box. Probably the sharpest tool in your grandmother's shed. Paul, as usual. And it's a pleasure, audience, as usual. It's so good to be here on the other side of 100. I feel like Martha Stewart, really.
I love how you say Stewart.
Stewart?
Stewart. You were like, Stewart.
Martha Stewart.
I was like, okay, here we go. I was like, that's a new one. Speaking of Martha Stewart, apparently Snoop Dogg is homophobic. Really disappoints me.
Are we surprised? I wouldn't be surprised if Martha was at this point. Like,
Martha shouldn't be because the gays built Martha.
We did. We built her brick by brick. Us and then poor mothers.
Who shop at Kmart.
Exactly. Which that was a good documentary, I will say. I did view her documentary on the good old Netflix, and it was a good one.
And you know what? The real reason why she went to jail was she refused to tell. Like, she refused to snitch.
And you know what? I appreciate that. Snitches get stitches.
Not Martha, though. She toughed it out.
Right. How was your week, DJ? Let's get that over with.
It was fine. It was fine.
Blessing and curse?
I came into this and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be positive and I'm gonna talk about nothing but blessings. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, the only thing I can think of is that you asked me to stop at the liquor store on my way over here, and I drove right past the one that I meant to go to. And then I accidentally drove past the second one, looped back around, parked, got out of the car, then found it was closed and had to go to the third one.
And that's a curse.
That is a curse.
Yeah.
So, came here with the best of intentions of only blessings, only have curses. How about you, Paul?
That's okay, because I do have a blessing, because tonight we are doing one of my very favorite things. We are going to go see a stand-up comedy show at Trundle Manor.
Yes. Oh, that's a good blessing.
And one thing about me is I love a moderately attractive, funny man, okay? So trust and believe, I'm going to be in the front row, sitting there, trying to find a husband.
That's not true, Paul. That's a bold-faced lie. You like a man who's not so ugly and funny.
What's the difference? What are you talking?
He's ugly but bearable.
Ugly but bearable. See, yeah. I can do ugly but bearable as long as you're funny.
Yeah.
And you know what? Also, if you're like attractive and somewhat funny, you know what? Honestly, let's be real. I'm gonna be sitting in that front row tonight, and then as soon as someone I find attractive walks up there and they say, they're like, hi, and I'm like, ha! Oh my god, Mr. Funny Date Man! Me. Oh my god! Ha ha ha!
Paul's gonna be there, ha ha ha, date me! Ride my cock!
Yes, they think they're just doing a little stand-up comedy show, but little do they know, they're playing my form of The Bachelor. And in that, nobody wins.
Jesus. Okay.
Yes, and for my curse, we both have been cursed as well. Mainly it's my fault. But we got banned from TikTok
Live. Oh my god, I forgot about that. It's been such a long week. I forgot we did get banned from TikTok.
We got banned from TikTok Live. And
Why, Paul?
I may have said if you know how TikTok Lives works, you can send people gifts, okay? And the best gift is the Galaxy. I think you get like $50 or something for it if someone sends you the Galaxy. And I said, if someone sends us the Galaxy, I will rob a Kroger. And I may have also said, if someone sends us a Galaxy, I will maybe possibly dig up my dead grandmother. And that's all I said.
No, you said more. And I quote, if somebody sends us a Galaxy, I will dig up my dead grandmother and physically abuse her corpse. And at that point, the live...
immediately ended.
I'm in my house, and suddenly it just goes, "This life has ended. Please come back later."
Yes.
And
TikTok said nope.
And I called Paul, and I was like, "Did you do that, or did something go wrong?" And he goes, "I may have gotten us banned."
Yeah, TikTok did not like that one. They did not like that joke. And
one thing I'll say about Paul, though, is Paul sounded so sad and apologetic, and I just laughed. I thought it was hilarious.
It was really funny.
I think you thought I was going to be mad. I wasn't. I thought it was hilarious.
Surprised it didn't happen sooner. Yeah, surprised it didn't happen sooner. So we're just... Yeah, that happened. We'll be back on live September 2nd, I think it is.
That's this Tuesday.
Yeah, so what can you do, you know? And it'll probably happen again. Whatever.
Oopsie.
Whoops. Are you ready for some pop culture?
Yes, please.
Now, I do have some shocking news right up top here. The guy who owns Crumble Cookie, one of the co-founders, one of the co-CEOs, came out as gay. Shocker. The guy who owns the best cookie company's gay. Like, you think a heterosexual man's making cookies that good? Girl.
I think it's better that the twink and the redhead.
Yeah, that he outed him.
He outed him, and then I really appreciate because like within hours he went on there and he's like, "So that guy did come out, and I apologize for clocking your tea."
I mean, you own a cookie company.
We all knew, but it's just more. I mean, it's more like
the boxes are pink, girl.
Yes, but it's more that it's okay to speculate, and I tell you this all the time. Like, there's all the time where I go like, I think this person's gay, I think this person's bi, and that's fine as long as I don't force them to come out of the closet.
Yeah, you can't force people to come out. But hey, I'm sure he has a ton of money. There's crumbles all over the freaking country now. Yeah. Like, he'll be fine, okay? He'll find himself a nice little boyfriend and he'll be fine.
You have one right here in your house.
What, the crumble cookie?
Yeah, I walked in and you didn't offer me one.
You can have one. They're all cut up, you know? They're ready. Now, speaking of boyfriends, we did get confirmation for all you millennial out there, you millennial gays who grew up on the YouTube. We did get confirmation that Connor Fronta and Troye Sivan were dated.
I know.
And that his song "The Good Side" was about Connor.
Yeah.
Which, it's nice to have that confirmation.
It is.
I'm very jealous.
I am jealous too. I'm really upset it didn't work out.
Yeah, it is sad. But honestly, it makes me feel good that like both those very attractive, very successful people aren't together. It makes me feel a little bit better about myself. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought for years I was like, I just want to know, and now that I know, I'm just like sad because I'm like, they made like such a beautiful couple.
Yeah.
And like I didn't get to like experience that, but on the plus side, either one of them, I'm available. You can call me at 412-555-EASY.
Yeah, or you can just call your local dump. Either one. But that's all I have for Pop Culture Corner. Do you have anything to add about Troy, Connor, the crumble cookie guy? Any other pop culture things?
No, but I came up with a joke this week and I'm quite proud of it.
Okay, what's the joke?
Paul, what does walking across a tightrope, like a high trapeze, and getting oral sex from Paul, why are they similar?
Why?
No matter what, don't look down.
You bitch. Okay. That's a good one.
Thank you. And you have full permission to come back at me next week.
Okay, I'll try and think of a better comeback joke for next week, guys.
It doesn't even have to be a comeback.
Tuned.
It can be anything about me. Nothing's off limits.
Okay.
Well, there's some things off limits. I think you know the lines not to cross.
Yeah. But speaking of crossing lines...
Shall we cross some? With the help of a little... I was going to say Dutch courage, which is the correct saying, but this is Portuguese courage.
Yeah, let's get into some Portuguese courage.
This week we are drinking a wonderful bottle of late bottled vintage port from Taylor Fladgate. Late bottled vintage was first launched by tailors in 1970 to be enjoyed by the glass on everyday occasions. Produced from wines from a single good harvest, it remains in large oak vats for between 4 and 6 years, after which it is bottled ready to drink and needs no decanting. It will remain in good condition for several weeks after the bottle is opened. Superb with cheeses, dark chocolate, or berry fruit flavored desserts. Taylor's late bottled vintage can also be served as the perfect finish to any meal. And this is a product of Portugal.
Period.
Okay, this one has a fancy wine condom where the top comes off.
Ooh, the fancy condom.
It's like a ribbed magnum.
Ooh, the Trojan version of wine condoms.
Like a Trojan ribbed.
Oh, the Trojan ribbed. Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Oh, maybe this is a screw top.
Oh, that's probably how it stays fresh, because it says fresh after, like, open.
Oh, okay, that got the sticker off. Oh.
Ew.
Oh!
I don't
okay.
know how I feel about that little, pluggy thing.
I used to buy olive oil with tops like that. Okay, let's get an ASMR pour here. Pour veil.
Thank you. Okay, she smells pretty okay. She smells.
Cork back in. Oh, that's nice. That's easy. Cheers.
Well.
Do you like port, Paul?
If that's what port is, then no, that's not good. That is not a good wine.
It's definitely does not taste the same as the port I had in Portugal.
Yeah, the port you got me from Portugal was better than this. I'm not sure what's going on here, but that's like one grape. That is not good wine.
I'm gonna give it 3. It's very sweet, and I don't know how much of it I can drink.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I'm sorry. Like, was she like more expensive?
No, she was like mid-range.
Mid-range, okay. Yeah, it's giving like cheap. I've had better Franzia. I wouldn't. If you're looking for a port, I'm sure DJ probably knows a better port you could get.
Porto Cruz.
Porto Cruz.
That's what I brought you back.
That was good. I will say that was good.
I went to their rooftop bar when I was in Porto.
Period.
Yes.
Yeah, this just isn't giving. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Hey, it goes with the story. Speaking of stories, Paul, why don't I tell you one?
Ooh, let's get into it.
On a beautiful spring morning, 3 shepherd children tended their flock and played happily in the fields. Suddenly, the beautiful day was split by a flash of light and a roll of thunder. What happened next would defy all belief and logical thinking. As they continued on their holy quest, they would be persecuted, but never failed the promises they made that first day, and the results echo to this day. Today, we shall discuss Our Lady of Fatima, Apparitions, Miracles, and Secrets.
Ooh, I guess you could say there was flashes of gold and there were moments of light. Well, how does the song go?
Hang on.
There were nights of endless pleasure.
There are things we never do again, but that they always seem right. There were moments of gold and there were flashes of light. Okay.
Period. Don't know anything about this story, so we'll see what happens. Now, is this in the Bible, the Bible,
No.
if you will?
No.
Now, where is this coming from, then?
History?
It's like local legend. No, isn't this like majorly like Christian?
This is a Christian story. I will be covering it, like all things, like trying to explain as much as possible as we go along, not assuming that
Okay.
Christianity is the default. But this is a Christian story.
Yeah.
I'm going to be taking this one a little more seriously because this falls in the wheelhouse of my own beliefs.
Right.
Paul does know this, but I've also given him permission to make some jokes.
Yes, yes. So we're gonna be doing the thing. I'm interested to see what happens and what goes down and like where this story originated to.
Okay.
But I don't know the story, so let's dive in. And I'm ready to learn more of the Baba Black Sheep kids, if you will.
Absolutely. We can call them the Baba Black Sheep kids. Now, our story begins in October 1910. Not that long ago.
No, that isn't actually. I thought we were talking about like the olden days
No.
when like Jesus was doing the thing.
No. Revolution broke out in Lisbon, Portugal, and King Dom Manuel II was forced to flee into exile. The Catholic monarchy of Portugal was abolished after 767 years, and the first Portuguese republic was formed. The new republic was intensely anti-religion and declared the Catholic Church to be the enemy of the radicalism that was the force behind the revolution. 5 days after the founding of the new republic, the government passed a series of laws criminalizing religious orders. Monasteries, convents, and churches were raided, their inhabitants and priests arrested, and whatever goods they had were seized.
See, that's interesting. What religion, or was it just like a different branch of Christianity were they trying to replace it with?
Nothing.
Nothing? And that was happening in 1910?
Yeah.
That's surprising to me.
This was one of the first, like, radical... So, I think the first, like, anti-secular or anti-religion revolution was the French Revolution in 1789. We're going to come back to that a little later.
Interesting. I didn't know they were doing things like that over in
Oh,
Europe,
yeah. In France, they outlawed religion for like a decade until Napoleon came back into power.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's actually really interesting. I'm going to have to look into that more. Because when I picture Europe, I picture like very fiercely Christian people.
Yes.
So that's really interesting to know.
Yes, but so one documentary I watched put it really good that the government of the Republic wanted to outlaw the church because they wanted to be the only ones in power, and they didn't want the people dedicated to anyone other than them, including God.
Oh, okay.
Power.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Now that brings us to the region of Fatima, a small rural community halfway between Lisbon, the capital, and Porto, which is the second largest city in the north. The town's name is derived from the daughter of the Muslim prophet Muhammad, which is interesting because of what happens later. And most of its inhabitants at this time were sheep herders or subsistence farmers.
Baba Black Sheep.
Do you have any more? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bales more. 1 for the butcher, 1 for the baker, 1 for the lady who lives down the lane.
Do you ever just hate it here sometimes?
You started it.
Yeah.
You started
It was
it.
just supposed to be Baba Black Sheep. That's the joke.
Then stop singing it.
You sung it, bitch.
You sung it first.
No, I just said Baba Black Sheep.
I swear you sung it. Now, Lucia dos Santos was born into one of these peasant families in the region in 1907 in the village of Ajustel. The family, despite being peasants, were not poor and owned a bit of land around the area. Her father, Antonio, was a kind and good man, and her mother, Maria Rosa, was one of the few literate people in the village and was well respected. Her mother often told her children stories from the Bible and taught Catholic catechism to all the children of the village.
Now, this is at the time where religion was outlawed, right?
Yes.
So she was like going against the law and teaching like
it wasn't so religion wasn't outlawed.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the laws were passed to make it really hard to go to church. But this was such a rural community that nobody really cared.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a city now, but at this time, it was still called a city, but it was like a larger village that was surrounded by smaller villages around.
Okay.
Like Pittsburgh.
Okay, yes.
Now, at the age of 8, Lucia took over the care of the family's flock of sheep along with her 2 cousins, Francisco and Jacinta.
I like their names. Francisco, Jacinta?
Jacinta.
Get it? I love that name, Jacinta. That's a cool name. I like that.
And I'm also not pronouncing any of these the correct Portuguese way because you will make fun of me because it sounds weird.
That's okay. I mean, what can you do, you know? I mean, we've already offended the French, the Irish.
I know. In 1914, World War I broke out, with Portugal joining England, France, and Italy on the Allied side against Germany and Austria and the Central Powers. Pope Benedict XV was elected a mere month into the war and described it as the suicide of civilized Europe. He fought tirelessly to bring peace to the continent, and on May 5th, 1917, he wrote a letter to all priests in the world to instruct all Christians to pray to the Blessed Mother to bring peace to the world and end the war.
I wonder why he chose the Blessed Mother for them to pray to instead of, like, Jesus or, like... Because, wait, he's Catholic, yeah. Catholics believe in the saints or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder why her, like...
Because moms break up fights.
Was that the real reason, or are you just saying that?
So the Blessed Mother, she does have many titles, and one of them is the Lady of Peace. So that could be one reason, but also in the Catholic faith, she is the Blessed Mother. She's the mother of Jesus, but she is all of our mothers.
Okay.
And like I said, mothers break up fights.
Okay. I'll accept it. Alrighty.
So that was on May 5th, 1917. On May 13th, 1917, Lucia, then 10, along with Francisco, who was 9, and Jacinta, who was 7, so they're small.
10, 9, and 7, okay.
Set off for a pasture called Cova de Ira.
COVID! Sorry. PTSD.
Truly. With their flocks. It was a pleasant and sunny day, and the children ate their lunch before playing in the field. Suddenly, the day was rended by a bright flash like lightning, and the boom of thunder.
And the flashes of light.
Exactly. The air cold and the sun seemed to dim, despite there being no clouds in the sky. The little shepherds rushed to gather their flocks and return home before the storm struck, when another bright flash hit a holm oak bush directly in front of them. They were stunned to see a beautiful woman standing there. Lucia later recounted,
Lindsay Lohan.
It was a lady dressed all in white, more brilliant than the sun, shedding rays of light, clear and stronger than a crystal glass filled with the most sparkling water, pierced by the burning rays of the sun.
Wait, what was clear as water?
She was.
Okay.
Like she was radiating light.
The
woman greeted them. Fear not, I will not harm you. They asked the woman where she came from, and she answered, From heaven. They asked if they would go to heaven too, and she answered yes, but Francisco had to say extra prayers. They asked what she wanted, and the lady said for them to come back at the same time on the same day for 6 consecutive months. She then asked them if they wanted to dedicate themselves to God, and Lucia answered yes for all 3, and the lady shined a brilliant light on the 3 and instructed them to say the rosary every day for peace in the world before ascending into the sky. Now all 3 of them could see her, but Francisco could not hear her, and the lady only spoke with Lucia.
Okay, interesting.
Jacinta said that she could hear her, but it sounded like she was very distant, and she could only capture so much.
Okay.
The 3 were astounded and overjoyed by the visitation of what they believed to be the Blessed Mother, but agreed to keep it a secret, because they had actually been visited by an angel twice before. And they got made fun of for telling their parents that.
And that angel? Lindsay Lohan.
Now, Jacinta, being 7, was too excited and told her mother. Her mother and brothers laughed, but her uncle and father took her and Francisco seriously and believed their children and niece had seen the Mother of God. It soon got back to Lucia's mother, who had first laughed it off until Lucia confirmed it. Her mother was furious at her daughter and spent days trying to coax a confession out of her, and when that did not work, resorted to punishing her by beating her with a broom handle.
Damn, not the handle. How did she even hold that? Well, actually, no, never mind. I could see how she could hold that and beat her with it.
She even took Lucia to the local priest and commanded her to confess her sins or else she would go to hell.
The old threat of hell.
The three were often mocked by their neighbors, and Lucia soon felt abandoned by her family, who used to be very affectionate and understanding of her, but who now only mocked her and bullied her and called her a liar. Now, in that first visitation, the lady did tell them that they would suffer a great deal because of this.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucia always said, I was very hurt by how my family responded, but I felt this is what the lady warned me about.
That makes sense.
Now, the next month, the 13th of June, fell on the feast of St. Anthony, which was a day of a festival that they had in the village. And both the mothers of the children tried to coax their children to forget the lady and come to the festival instead. But the three refused and instead went to the Cova de Ira to find a few locals, and a few travelers had come and were waiting there after hearing about the visitation. As noon approached, they said the rosary under the shade of a large tree, and then Lucia saw a flash, and the three children ran to the holm oak and knelt while the others followed. The lady appeared again, and Lucia asked what she wanted of them. The lady asked them to continue to come on the 13th day of the month, to pray the rosary daily, and instructed them with a new prayer, and for the three children to learn how to read and write, because she wanted to tell them more. Yes. Lucia asked about a paralyzed boy and if he would be healed, and the lady said he would be healed within a year. Lucia then asked if the lady would take them to heaven. The lady replied she would take Francisco and Jacinta soon, but not Lucia. Lucia would live a long life and share her message. Lucia began to cry and asked if she had to be alone, and the lady touched her face and said, "No, I will forever be with you." As she said this, she opened her hands, and the children were bathed in light and saw Jesus in the light, and then the lady ascended into the sky. None of the others gathered there saw the lady, nor could they hear her except for a soft, melodious sound, almost like the buzzing of bees, but like more musical. But they did notice feeling the cooling of the air, the sun dimming without any clouds, and a small misty cloud over the tree that descended and lifted when Lucia said that the lady was there and when she had left. And after the lady was said to leave, the top branches of the holm oak were bent as if somebody had stood on them.
You said she saw Jesus too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
Jesus was not there. The lady showed them a vision of Jesus.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, where did this, story... So, the people who originated, this story, they wrote it down, and this is where the story is coming from?
And newspapers. I mean...
Newspapers,
This is 1910,
Yeah, there's newspapers.
There's cameras.
They had cameras in 1910, that's crazy.
They had cameras in 1860.
Okay, that's crazy.
Paul's like, what? My life is a lie!
Right. I know my college professor is so disappointed I forgot about that shit.
Yeah, you went to school for...
I know, and I took a test on that shit when that shit was invented and stuff. But that was community college. That was years ago.
Okay.
We're grown now. That was a long time ago. I remember on one of those tests, one of my multiple choice questions was, who was the first person to reach 1 million followers on Twitter? That was literally one of the...
Who was it?
Ashton Kutcher.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's shocking.
Yeah, some of the classes I took, I remember I took one class, this is going on a little tangent, a little rant, but I took one class on one of these Adobe products. I took a class that semester on it. The next semester, Adobe discontinued it. So that whole class, I think it was Adobe Flash or some shit. And the next thing I know, it's discontinued. So that whole class, pointless. Girl, I was pissed. And we made websites with it and stuff. My website, it was dedicated to RuPaul's Drag Race, the Queens of Season 8. So gay. I did so many...
How are you not bullied?
This was college.
How are you not bullied?
I guess they were scared, which they should have fucking been.
They should have been. They saw the fire in your eyes and they went, we're not messing with that bitch.
Right.
Columbine up in here.
Not Columbine. I mean, honestly, like, low-key, I probably did give that a little bit of middle school. Like, I gave that a little bit of middle school because, like, I was weird and I dressed, like, gross and things until I fully grew into myself.
Wasn't that the...
It was giving
Wait, was
Columbine.
that the... Is this you or somebody else where you wore polo shirts with basketball shorts?
No, but I did wear sweatpants every day for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, it was... Oh, and there's a lot of lore behind it, but I did tell one kid I was going to push him down a well, and then he was gone from school for 2 weeks. Not sure why. But when he got back, he did very much play into the fact that I did push him down the well, and that,
Did that help your cred, or did that hurt your cred?
A little bit of both. People were scared.
Well, that's cursed. We're going to get back into something holy. The morning after the second apparition, the children were taken by their parents to the local priest to be interrogated. The priest was astounded and said the Blessed Mother wouldn't come from heaven to tell mere children to pray the rosary every day, which everyone in the parish already did. He also stated that usually angels or saints of the Blessed Mother tells her seers to go to their local priest and give him the message to be shared. Methinks he was butthurt Our Lady did not come to him.
Well, yeah, you dedicate your whole life to some shit, and then she's gonna come to these 2 little kids?
3
little kids, whatever. I'd be pissed too. I spent my whole life kneeling for this sorry. I spent my whole life kneeling for this woman, and then she's gonna come back for some 3 little kids who ain't done nothing? I'd be mad too.
He also warned the children that this could very well be a trick of the devil, who often took on comforting disguises to fool people. This greatly upset Lucia, who began to have nightmares. She even considered telling everyone that it was all a lie in the hopes of getting some peace. And, having her, family, start, loving her again.
Not her family stopping loving her.
This was a really rough time for her.
Yeah, I don't know. So why didn't her family like her because of this again? Because...
They thought that...
she was lying or
something? They thought that they were lying. And you'll see, especially as this go on, they were afraid of, the government hearing and, the government, coming down hard on them.
Yeah, okay. They didn't want the attention.
And it's also, when she first saw the angel, she didn't tell her mother, Jacinta and Francisco did, and it got back to her mother, their aunt, and her mother said, you expect me to believe an angel of our Lord to appear to a mere girl like you?
Well, I don't appreciate the, what's the word when you hate women? Misogyny of that statement?
Not like a woman, but a child.
Yeah, which... I mean, I get,
Like a child. And she followed it up with, what makes you so special?
Right, what did make them special? Are we going to find out? Or was Mother, Mary, was she just you 3, LOL?
We'll continue on.
Okay.
On the 12th of July, Lucia was determined not to go to the cova, and told her cousins to tell the lady she was afraid that she was the devil, and she would not come anymore.
Okay.
But the next morning, all of her doubts suddenly went away, and she went and collected her cousins and returned to the cova to find even more of a crowd waiting. At midday, the 3 knelt before the holm oak as the lady appeared, and as soon as she looked at Lucia immediately felt at ease and knew this was Our Lady.
Okay.
The lady reiterated she wanted the 3 to continue to pray the rosary daily to bring peace to the world and to end the war through the Lady of the Rosary. Lucia thought of her mother and the priest and asked the lady to reveal her name and to perform a miracle to prove to the others who she was. The lady told them to continue to come on the 13th day of the month, and on October 13th she would reveal herself and perform a miracle. Lucia passed along the petitions of some people who had stopped her, and the lady told her she would cure some, but not others, because they all had to pray the rosary daily too. So some it's, I will do it, but some, they gotta work on themselves.
Oh, and working on yourself is praying the rosary.
Yeah.
So, okay.
The lady then instructed them on a prayer and told them 3 secrets.
Ooh, okay. 3's my favorite number, so let's get into it.
Do you want to hear the secrets?
Yes.
First, she showed them a vision of hell with the souls of sinners writhing and screaming in pain, and warned the children that this is where sinners go. But if they continued to pray to Our Lady's Immaculate Heart, she would intercede to her Son, the Lord Jesus, and many would be saved. And Lucia said that this vision was so terrifying that if the lady hadn't already told them that they were going to heaven, they would have died on the spot of fright. Next, she asked that Russia be consecrated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, and that she would bring peace to the world. But if this was not done, a second worse war would follow during the papacy of Pius XI, and many more would die, and the Lord would show the world this was going to happen through a great sign of the night sky being illuminated by an unknown light. Lastly, she showed them a great flash, followed by a city in ruins and on fire. The Holy Father, the Pope, along with cardinals and bishops and priests, walked through the city blessing the dead, and then climbed a mountain where a huge cross was at the top. As they reached the top and knelt, soldiers appeared and slaughtered the holy men without regard. She told them not to tell anyone these secrets until she gave them the command, and then ascended into the sky.
Okay.
By this time, news of the apparitions had spread all over the country and indeed the world. The administrator of the county, Arturo Oliveira Santos, no relation to Lucia, was a diehard Republican and was dead set against the church, and hoped to end the situation and earn a promotion to the national government in Lisbon. On the 13th of August, he asked the seers to meet him at the priest's house and questioned them, and then said he wished to see the lady too, and he would take them in his carriage so that they weren't stopped along the way. As their parents watched, he ordered the carriage away from the cova and to the city hall, kidnapping them.
Oh, that's not good.
Like, he literally kidnapped small children.
Jesus. He said, you're mine.
Because at one point he called the kids to the city hall and the parents came.
Mm-hmm.
And so the parents said, like, hey, like, we'll work with you. We don't want no trouble. Like, we'll work with you. And he was just like, okay, I'll go to this pasture. Come on. City hall! And the parents were pissed.
Well, yeah, he took freaking kids. I could see why they were mad.
In the carriage, Lucia actually thought that they were going to be killed by the government.
Mm.
Meanwhile, at the Holmoke, a large crowd waited, and when news of the kidnapping arrived, a riot almost broke out until thunder crashed in the clear sky over the tree. Maria de Capellina, who had started visiting the cova every day after the June apparition, remarked that she saw a cloud descend to the Holmoke, which shone every color of the rainbow, before returning to the sky. And she said this was Our Lady coming, and when she saw the children weren't there, she went back to heaven. At the town hall, the children were held in jail cells overnight and interrogated by the administrator, who wanted them to confess to lying about the lady. He even resorted to threatening to kill them if they did not say they were lying. But when word of the upset at the kidnapping of the children arrived, he had them returned and left on the doorstep of the priest's house, not knowing the priest was actually in church saying mass.
I thought they weren't allowed. Oh, no, you said they were allowed. It was just hard for them to go. Okay.
Yeah. There was nearly a counter-revolution in Fatima at this moment. Everyone was so pissed.
Yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't one before that, because if everyone, like, if the majority there is so Christian, I'm surprised there wasn't, like, a rising up before that to, like, allow them to, like, do the Christian whatever
even the
again.
people who didn't believe were like, the government is kidnapping children?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't care if they're liars. They don't deserve that.
Right.
And it was Francisco and Jacinta's father, Timarto, who actually stopped a riot from breaking out because when, like, they saw the children. everyone was like, kill the priest, kill the administrator. And he was like, it's cool. Everything's fine. Let's just go about our Sunday.
Yes. Yes, okay.
Now, on Sunday, the 19th of August, Lucia was spending the day with Francisco and his brother John at Valhinos when she noticed the air cool and felt the lady was coming and sent for Jacinta. They knelt as a flash appeared and the lady arrived before them.
Flashes of light.
She asked them to continue to come to her on the 13th day and to pray the rosary, and on the 13th of October she would perform a miracle so all would believe, but noted that if the men had not kidnapped you, I would have done a greater miracle.
Side note, I wish every time you would say there was a flash, you would sing the song.
Do you want me to do that going forward?
I think it would be really funny.
Okay.
I think it would be cool.
Do you want me to go back and we'll start doing that? We'll just rewind and start re-recording.
Oh my god. I don't know if I'm about
teasing.
that life.
I'm teasing.
I don't know if I'm about all that
I'm
life.
teasing. Now, by this point, more and more people were coming to the cova and leaving offerings of money. And Lucia asked what the lady wanted done with the offerings. And the lady instructed that they be used for the feast of the Lady of the Rosary, and the rest would go towards building a chapel at the cova. John did not see the lady, but heard a clap of thunder despite the clear skies as she left. Jacinta broke off the branch that the lady had stood on and took it to Lucia's mother, who still did not believe her daughter, niece, and nephew. She still took the branch and smelt it and was shocked that it smelt lovely and unlike anything she had ever smelt, and kept it and began to believe her daughter a little bit. On September 13th, the little shepherds came again to the cova to greet the lady. The crowds had grown even larger, and the children led them in the rosary in anticipation of her arrival. As always, she arrived in a flash of light and over the whole moke. She promised a miracle on the 13th of October and asked for people to continue to say the rosary, and promised to cure some of the sick who asked Lucia to speak of them to the lady. Now, Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco often told others of the lady's promise of a miracle on the 13th of October.
13! Taylor Swift confirmed. You're welcome.
Yes, it was Taylor Swift who was coming.
Yes. I mean, I feel like Taylor Swift comes a lot, actually.
Can we save that for the theories section?
Yes.
Okay. Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco often told others of the lady's promise of a miracle on the 13th of October, and anticipation grew as the day approached. And an arch was built over the holmoke and covered in flowers. While the faithful flocked to the cova and the little seers were gleeful, their families grew more and more worried. What would happen on the 13th when there was no miracle? And what was worse was there were rumors that the government was going to plant bombs at the cova to kill the seers and to knock over the holy holmoke. Lucia's mother begged her to give the game up and admit to the lie, but she refused, and Lucia's parents decided to go to the cova with their daughter, with their mother saying, "If my daughter shall die, I will die at her side."
As any good parent would, you know?
October 13th dawned with a downpouring of rain. But despite that, 70,000 people packed into the cova to see the miracle.
Shit, I'd be there too. I want to see the miracle. I'm not going to miss that shit. That's like probably the biggest thing they've ever seen in their lives.
You tell Paul about a miracle, he's there.
Right. And that's why I've attended every Sean Cody shoot since 2007.
Are those all miracles?
Oh, every single one of them. Praise God.
Canonically?
I'm not sure what that word means, but sure.
Okay. Cool. Okay, the roads were thick with mud and clogged as people, donkeys and carts, horses and carriages and cars all tried to get there. The Baroness of Almarim arrived with 2 dresses for Lucia and Jacinta and asked if she could dress them, and did so, and gave them flower garlands to wear in their hair. The families traveled to the cova where everyone waited in the pouring rain. A priest asked Lucia when the lady would come, and she said noon. He shouted noon had come and gone, and said it was all a hoax, and tried to push the children away. Lucia said she would not go because the lady promised she would be there, and anyone who wished to leave could leave. Then the rain stopped, and the children kneeled as the flash came and the lady appeared. Lucia asked what the lady wanted. She smiled and said, "I want a chapel built here in dedication to me. I am the Lady of the Rosary. Pray the Rosary and dedicate yourself to my Immaculate Heart, and I will bring the faithful to my Son, Lord Jesus, in heaven, and I will end the war, and your men will come home." Lucia asked for some people to be healed or pardoned, and the lady replied that they must amend their ways and believe. Some people began to shout that they saw nothing, and there was no miracle. At this, Our Lady pointed to the sky, and Lucia turned around and shouted, "The sun! Look at the sun!" Everyone turned and saw that the clouds had parted, and the sun shone dazzlingly. And then, to their amazement, it changed colors. Soon they were all bathed in shades of rich blue, red, green, purple, and yellow. And as they stared at it, it did not burn their eyes or hurt, and they saw it clearly as a perfect disk. And then it began to plunge to earth. Everyone screamed and scrambled, shouting the world was ending. As they scrambled, some prayed, some made confession, and then a blind woman shouted. She could see for the first time in her life. And the paralyzed boy stood on his own. And then the sun stopped and retreated to its place in the heavens. As it returned, Lucia, Jacinta, and Francisco saw Jesus and Saint Joseph bless the world, and lastly saw Our Lady smile down on them. Soon, Our Lady's prophecies would come to pass. Just over a year after the miracle of the sun, the war ended and the soldiers returned to their homes. The Santoses donated land and the money left by pilgrims was used to build a small chapel on the spot where Our Lady appeared. Francisco and Jacinta waited for Our Lady to come take them to heaven, and Lucia prepared to spread the devotion to her Immaculate Heart. On one occasion, when asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, Francisco said, "Nothing. I want to die and go to heaven."
I want to die too. Right there with you, girl.
In April 1919, a year and a half after the miracle, Francisco died of Spanish flu. His last request was to make his first Holy Communion, and he died the morning after receiving it. 10 months later, in February 1920, Jacinta died of the same illness in hospital. The following year, Lucia moved to Porto and began school at the convent of St. Dorothea. She would join the order in 1925, and that same year she would again see Our Lady, who dictated the first Saturday devotion. The following year, Our Lady again came to Lucia and ordered her to inform the Pope that she wished Russia to be consecrated to her Immaculate Heart for world peace, and if not, there would be no peace. Our Lady would return once more, along with Jesus, once in 1928 and 1931, to tell Lucia, to tell the Pope, to consecrate the world to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, or else there would be war. On the night of January 25th, 1938, during the papacy of Pius XI, the night was lit up by a sudden blood-red aurora borealis, making it look as if the sky was on fire. Lucia saw this and knew it was the sign from God that Our Lady had warned of. Later that year, Hitler's Nazi Germany invaded and annexed Czechoslovakia. Hitler continued making plans to invade more of Eastern Europe, and the next year, World War II broke out, culminating in the deaths of millions through genocide, air raids, and finally, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. During the war, the papacy was held by Pope Pius XII, who had a special attachment to Our Lady of Fatima. He was consecrated a bishop on the day of the first apparition on May 13, 1917. In 1935, he had actually traveled to Fatima to bless and consecrate the official statue of Our Lady at the Basilica of Our Lady of the Rosary, built at the Cova de Ira. In 1942, he consecrated the whole world and the human race, especially Russia, to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. At this point, the war turned, and the Allies began to win nearly every battle, whereas for the previous 3 years they had lost nearly every battle. Pius would continue to advocate for the message of Our Lady of Fatima until his death on October 9, 1954. He was buried in the Vatican on the anniversary of the Miracle of the Sun, October 13th. Now, the third secret is a little harder to determine. Sister Lucia refused to inform her priest or bishop about it for years, saying that Our Lady had not yet ordered it. In 1943, she had become sick and nearly died, and on the orders of her bishop, wrote it down and sealed it inside of 2 envelopes to be opened by the Pope in 1960 or in the case of her death. Pope John the 23rd, Pope Paul the 6th, Pope John Paul I all read the secret and declined to publish it. On May 13, 1981, Pope John Paul II was riding an open-top car through St. Peter's Square when an assassin jumped from the crowd and shot him twice, but he survived. He attributed this to the intervention of Our Lady of Fatima, and 1 year later traveled to Fatima to say a Thanksgiving Mass on the anniversary, and the following day consecrated the world, and especially Russia, to the Immaculate Heart. In 1984, he would offer one of the bullets which struck him to Our Lady of Fatima, and it was incorporated to her crown. Pope John Paul II and U.S. President Ronald Reagan, who also survived an assassination attempt months before the Pope, opened dialogues with Soviet Russia following this. In 1988, the Soviet government began to fall, and in 1989, the Berlin Wall was destroyed, signaling the official end of the Soviet Union. The Pope requested a piece of it be given to the sanctuary at Fatima in recognition of Our Lady's intervention in the fall of the Soviet Union and the ending of the Cold War. In 2000, 40 years after Sister Lucia asked for the third secret to be revealed, the Vatican released the text. Many have disputed the actual secret, saying the Vatican was involved in a cover-up. Many conservative Catholics accused the Church of covering up the fact that it was a warning against the reforms of the Vatican II Council, which modernized the Church and liturgy, while others theorize it predicts the end of the world. Many of these conservative Catholics use this as ammunition to defy modernizing efforts of the popes in Rome and use it as justification to break with the Vatican. Sister Lucia, for her part, attested this was the true secret. Pope John Paul II and then Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, later Pope Benedict XVI, along with other Vatican insiders, attested that this was the real secret and had prophesied this attempted assassination of John Paul II. However, still some interpret it as the downfall of the Church and pain caused to the Holy Father through the sins of insiders, which would make sense because in 2019, Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro outlined a widespread case against Catholic priests who preyed sexually on children, which led to a sweeping condemnation of the Church and rocked it to its core. Sister Lucia only visited Fatima 4 more times after leaving it in the early 1920s. Once privately in 1946, once to meet Pope Paul VI in 1967, and 3 times to meet John Paul II there in 1982, 1991, and 2000. She spent the whole of her life dedicated to spreading the messages she received as a 10-year-old girl. And true to Our Lady's words, she lived a long life and died in 2005 at the age of 97. She is buried beside Jacinta at the Basilica at Fatima. Francisco and Jacinta were exhumed from their initial burial plots at the local church and moved to the basilica in 1935. Upon opening Jacinta's coffin, they found her perfectly intact after 15 years despite not being embalmed. On May 13th, 100 years after the 3 little shepherds first saw Our Lady, Pope Francis declared Francisco and Jacinta to be saints of the Catholic Church. The case for Lucia's canonization as a saint is ongoing. The sanctuary of Our Lady of Fatima has turned the once desolate fields of the Cova di Iria into a thriving shrine with 2 basilicas, the chapel at the spot where Our Lady appeared, hostels for pilgrims and the ill who come to ask for cures, and educational centers. To this day, each year, 6 million people visit and ask Our Lady to bless them. And 1 month ago today, at time of recording, I was one of them.
All right. Period. Okay.
What do you think?
What do I think? What? So, first thoughts. So,
either you checked out or I stunned you into silence because I've never heard you that quiet.
First thought. So, they're watching this. It comes down from the sky. Heals the sick, poor, whatever. So they just all go home after this? Like, how does this end? Because it feels like a very abrupt ending. The sun just goes back up to the sky and they're just like, oh, well, that was cool, everybody. Oh, you can walk again.
No, I told you how it ends. Jacinta and Francisco.
Not that day. Like, what happens that day, though? Like, the sun goes back in the sky. What? People can walk again? They're just all like, oh, well, that was fun. Y'all, party over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was
they went
abrupt.
home.
Like...
What are you going to do? Stand in the field for the rest of your life?
What? There wasn't a celebration? I mean, they just got confirmation that the gods...
Yeah, there was a celebration, then they went back home.
Okay. Because, like, the way you told it, it was so abrupt. It was like, and then the sun went back in the sky.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Everyone sighed a sigh of relief that that it was not the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And Sister Lucia thinks that it was such a terrorizing miracle.
Mm-hmm.
A, to scare people into believing, and B, it was supposed to be a happy, good miracle until they were kidnapped, and then Our Lady decided, I'm going to scare you little shits.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this whole story is giving. Like, it's like, oh, it's this, like, story to try and scare you into believing in God. And
are you scared of that?
Oh, I'm not scared.
I'm not scared. I think it's a story of hope.
How? I mean, they're threatened. Whatever.
Who's threatened?
He's threatening, if you don't pray the rosary, if you don't do this thing, there's going to be all this war, this thing, if you don't bow down, there's going to be the war, all this stuff.
I mean, it's not a threat, it's a warning.
Oh, it's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It's, literally, it is the same thing. She's saying, if you don't do this shit, your life is going to be miserable. If you don't bow down to me, pray your rosary, there's going to be war, famine, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, now...
It's a threat.
Think about the Holy Mother, like your mother. When you play by a stove and your mother says, don't do that, you're going to get burned, is that a threat?
No. Okay. You got me there. That's a warning, yes.
What she's saying, so she's coming and she's saying, if you pray, I will bring peace. If, like, God is upset. If you pray, I will take your prayers to God. And if you do not, there will be a war.
Okay, yeah. And that's a lot of pressure to put on people. Like, oh, if you don't pray hard enough, shit, there's going to be a lot of war. And if you don't convert this many people or blah, blah, blah. Like... But
also, the main part of the war, well, the prayer was for people not to go to hell.
Okay.
The war happened because the popes refused to consecrate Russia to her Immaculate Heart.
I think there was a lot of reasons that war happened. That World War I happened.
I am not saying that it strictly happened because of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking in terms of the story, interpretation of the story.
Right. No, I also do think, like... I mean, like, we have to take the words of children with a grain of salt at the end of the day. Like, I know the lesson of the story is, like, we should listen to kids. And, like, growing up watching, like, even watching Disney Channel shows and, like, everything, it's like, you gotta trust kids sometimes and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, like, being at the age I am and stuff, like, I don't even trust teenagers, honestly. Like, I don't trust 15-year-olds, let alone, like, a 7-8-year-old. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to just be, like... Because, like, there's so many stories like this. And, like, there's stories like this in other religions, too, where it's like, oh, I'm the only one who can see God, or I'm the only one who can see this person, and this is what we got to do to save ourselves. But you can't see that person. Like, it's just me. I'm the only one.
Okay.
Because, like, in the story, like, she was the only one who could see the mother, right?
No,
but, like,
all three of them could.
But, like, no one else could besides the three of
them.
No, so it's,
but
like,
there was...
makes them special.
Now, how do you explain the sun?
The sun? I don't... Group hallucination.
Okay.
I'm sorry to, like...
It's okay,
rain on the parade. Like, I mean, I'd have to do more research, and, like, it'd be interesting to see the newspaper articles and everything. Like, it just...
Yeah, because, okay, when I said there were 70,000 people there, they weren't all believers.
Right.
And plenty of non-believers saw it, too.
And don't get me wrong, I am open to believing, and I was raised in the Christian church. I'm not anti-Christian or blah, blah, blah. Like, do I have, like, questions that I want answered and stuff, and would I believe if like I had like absolute proof and everything? Yes, I am open to it. I'm not trying to be like super close-minded, but like at the end of the day, I wasn't there, and group hallucinations are a thing, especially when you want something to happen so much. And also, it could have been like a natural thing. I mean, there's like solar eclipses and all sorts of things like that. But then, like, how did they know to be there on the 13th for that solar eclipse? So, like, that, like, could have been a thing. Like, maybe, like, they did receive some information from the divine, right? That instructed them to be there on that day. And, like, they knew, like, some divine, like, the mother knew that there was going to be that solar eclipse that day and had them be there to witness this natural whatever to make them believers and, like, convert more people into believing in God and everything, which that very much could have happened. I mean, all of this could have happened. I mean, those were just the doubts in my head.
Okay.
But this could have happened. Like, they could have been seeing the Mother God, and, like, you were actually there. And, like, I do want to ask you, like, what you felt while you were at Fatima. I mean, keeping in mind the placebo effect, of course. But, like, what did you feel while you were there?
So, it's one of those spots, for you as somebody who doesn't believe, I will say it's one of those spots where something magical did happen. Whether that was just a moment of humanity coming together.
Right.
Or if there was something truly divine, it's a magical spot, and you can feel that.
Right.
So I'll start with that. I have been wanting to go for years, and so I'm very glad that I wanted to go. And
right.
I felt the presence of the divine there for myself.
Right.
And I did make an offering and light a candle and say a prayer, and I'm not going to get into it on the podcast. I'll get into it with you off air.
Yeah, and I do think there's something powerful about that, like going to divine places like that and making offerings and sending. I think there's something
absolutely
special about that.
Absolutely, but I will say that I said a prayer there, and I made an offering, and the prayer was answered.
Oh, the prayer was answered. So we have 1 million followers now? No, I'm fucking with you.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not gonna tell it online because there's too many people would be like, and you're probably gonna be like, oh, like, this isn't logical. But we'll get into that off.
And that's what's annoying about like, and I can say that as like someone who is like so questioning and so like. There's something so annoying, too, about being a non-believer because it, like, makes the world less magical.
Yes.
And there's something annoying about it.
Yeah.
And, like, I can recognize that as, like, being someone who believes like that. There's just something about it.
And I apologize. There are truly so many firsthand, like, witness accounts. Like, Lucia wrote 2 books. Well, she wrote... while I was there, I got 2 of her books. I think she wrote a total of 3. And I mean, there are books written on this, and there are newspaper accounts, and there are people who are there who have given testimonials after the fact. And it's just, I could either tell the story or I could recite quotes, and I figured it was better for me to tell the story.
Right.
And I do think it's a magical story about belief and sticking with your beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lesson to be learned for sure in this story. It's a good story. Like, I feel so patronizing. I'm not trying to be patronizing when I say story. I know. It's a good...
And,
I'm not trying to be patronizing. I'm so sorry.
And I'm glad because I was going to say, like, I was about to get into some of the, like, theories. What if it was not the Mother of God?
I mean, there is...
And, like you said, group hallucination.
Yeah. And there's, like...
But I think my favorites... My absolute favorite, like, it was not the Mother of God theory, was presented by John Keel in his book, The Mothman Prophecies. It all comes back to Mothman in the end. And John Keel said that the Miracle of the Sun was a UFO, and that the apparitions of the Blessed Mother were obviously an ultra-terrestrial, like the Mothman who appeared to the children.
Yeah, I mean, I do believe in aliens for sure. Like,
well, the thing about John Keel's interpretation of Mothman was it wasn't an extraterrestrial; it was an ultra-terrestrial because he said that there were beings on this planet who were like worlds ahead of the rest of humanity.
Right.
And that's what UFOs were. They weren't aliens; they were this higher level being on Earth.
Interesting.
Which we'll get into that another time.
Another time, for sure.
Now, you go first.
You go ahead. I was going to do, like, a whole, like, ending to the episode.
Oh, okay. Because I was just going to say, if you were in Portugal, would you go to Fatima to check it out for yourself?
Oh, yeah. Like, I would definitely go and, like, experience it. Like, I would even leave an offering, because, like, why not, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like I said, going to different holy sites and, like, going there in positive intention, of course, yes. And, like, leaving an offering. I think there's still something powerful in that, you know? Like, yes. And I do think, like, sites like Fatima, I mean, like, whether you believe it or not, there's still, like, powerful sites and, like, good sites, and whatever happened there, like, there's powerful places like that, and yeah, I think it's cool.
Are you gonna do the wrap up?
No, I was just gonna say, like, you had confided, and we can cut this out if you want, but, like, you had confided into me that your grandmother was very, like, dedicated to the Mary.
No, we can keep this in. And so I was like 8, and the movie was like on Turner Classic Movies, and I sat down and watched it with her, and like at the end when she said, "I am the Lady of the Rosary," just crying, because it's that idea that there is a higher being that loves you so much.
It's comforting
that she would come down. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with Christianity, that God loves us so much. I probably sound like one of those crazy evangelicals right now. If I do sound like it, just cut it. But like just the thought of like, God does love us so much that he sent his only son down to experience what we experienced, and then sacrificed him so that we could be saved, is just like, wow. And I mean, like, you hear it all the time, like, this place is like, I don't believe in hell because this place is hell, but like, and like, oh, if there's a God, why is there so much terrible stuff? And it's like, one thing this story taught me was like, stop looking at the negative and like start looking at like the positive influences. Because like Lucia, like, she felt like so downtrodden by her family, but she was just like, but you know what, I'm working for something bigger than myself. She turned a negative into a positive.
Very that. And something I didn't tell you is my grandmother actually, like, she prayed the rosary like every day, had like the Mother Mary in like her yard and everything, like a whole statue. Yeah. Like, she had it in front of this bush or whatever. So like, maybe we dedicate this episode to our grandparents who loved Mother Mary and loved the mother so much, you know?
Yeah.
Let me pour a little bit and we can cheers to our
What did you call that grandmother? Did she have a special name, or was she just grandma?
I just called her grandma.
Grandma, okay.
Yeah. So
see, my grandmothers were Nanny and Nunny. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but so grandma, or you say grandma also.
Yeah. Cheers to our grandparents.
Grandma, Nunny.
This one's for you.
And I mean, for my part, I hope they're both in heaven with the Blessed Mother now.
Yes, I hope they're both there. And this one's for you guys.
Yeah. This is probably our most controversial episode yet.
Yeah, and it got pretty emotional there at the end, especially, like, I'm pretty sure you didn't expect me to dedicate this one to my grandmother, too.
I'm just proud that I didn't cry. There were times where, like, I felt shivers go through my body just because there's certain parts of the story that do that.
Right.
But we'd love to hear what you think. Like, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with Paul. You can both tell us we're idiots.
Right.
All we ask
we're open to criticism.
All that we ask with any of the topics that we cover is that you come at it with an open mind and curiosity over fear and hatred.
Very that. And to all the mothers out there, this one's for you too.
I should have done this for Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think about that. We should have done it for Mother's Day. So I did do it because I just got back from Portugal, and the first episode we recorded was our 100th last week. Mm-hmm. And so this was the first one that we didn't have, like, pre-planned. So I wanted to do it because I was there. And I think this is the first topic where it's like in the lifetime of the podcast where I went somewhere with the intention of covering it on the podcast.
Right.
Because I bought those books because I knew I was covering it when I got back.
Period. It was a good story. It's a good...
Thank you.
Sorry, not story. It was a good episode. Good. Yeah.
You
Sorry,
can
I
say-
just feel so I don't want to be
No,
patronizing.
you're
I
not
feel
patronizing.
So bad.
I know you're coming from it from a
I feel
point
like-
of...
Yeah, I feel like I'm talking down every time I
No,
see
it's
a
not.
story.
No, it's not. And it's like... We can talk about this later. We can talk about this for the rest of the night, probably. But anyways, please let us know what you think. Please like, subscribe, follow wherever you're listening. Please connect with us on all of our social medias. DM us your thoughts. If you have personal stories, or if you do have like a longer length reaction to this, send it to the email so that we can find it a little more easier. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me at my personal Instagram and TikTok at Paul Ember, Paulember. And as usual, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
And if you'd like to follow me, you can do so on Instagram and TikTok at The Real Deej Powers. And remember, until next time, keep your grips tight.
And your corks loose.
Bye! So when are you going to start defending the country? When exactly? Like, are you just not gonna? Like, are you just fine with Al-Qaeda taking over our borders?
I will when they make the McChicken $1 again.
Oh, I
That's
see.
worth defending.